right, now we're going to move on to a little bit of a debate topic. I asked the boys earlier in the day today to bring in your best NBA personal hot take about this year's upcoming playoffs. So we're going to go ahead and tell you guys our hot takes and also explain ourselves a little bit. A little bit of a disclaimer before we get into this. These are hot takes. They're supposed to be crazy, so I don't want to hear you nerds in the comment section saying shit I don't want to hear. I'm so serious.
You'll be a victim of Kevin's replies.
Yeah, I'll be active on these reels. I so will. So who wants to kick it off?
I guess one hot take is that the Lakers will most likely not dominate, but they will do really well, I think, in the playoffs. My reasoning behind that, like we said earlier, I've been saying this, I think, since before December. Immediately when I saw the West basically just getting like closer and closer and all these teams being neck and neck to now when we brought it up earlier in this podcast that teams are neck and neck. And even back then, I was saying that I think that's just a testament to how competitive and how strong the West is, and that none of these playoff series are going to be easy or are going to be a straight up, wash. I think that everyone will be put to the test, and I think that we'll see some really good NBA on display come that time. I mean, I think that when I look at the team with LeBron, I like them. I think that they've done some good things this season, won some matchups that they've needed to win, and kind of just shown that they have the potential to work as a cohesive unit and beat the best teams in the league. So yeah, it's going to be my hot take, is that the Lakers will make a deep playoff run.
That's crazy, bro. That is a hot take, because I watched their game last night against the Warriors and it was fucking horrible.
So
Dude,
bad.
They looked. Did you watch that? Dude, it was horrible.
They're so bad. I mean, I thought them about that like last year too, and shit, they made it to the conference finals.
Did you see LeBron throw the pass to the corner with no one standing in it? Did you see that?
I saw him do that. I saw him throw a lob to Jackson Hayes to hit the top of the backboard. I saw
Dude,
a
there were
lot,
air
bro.
balls. There were air balls everywhere.
Dude,
it was fucking
They
bad.
played horrible, but that's the reason it's a hot take.
Yeah, I mean they did it last year, like you said. So,
yeah,
it's possible.
Can never rule out LeBron.
Who wants to go next?
I don't know how much of a hot take this is, but I just have a little bit of a high on the 76ers this season. And I think them sitting at the 7th seed right now, they could possibly go to the 6th. And then if they're at the 6th, I think that with the way Embiid just came back, the way they've played with him on the court this season, they've been phenomenal. He was averaging, I think, almost like 35 points per game when they had him. This is the per 300 possessions, excluding garbage time, they've had the most effective 5-man lineup, plus 33.3 on the floor. And I think that they could make a deep playoff run. They could go to Eastern Conference Finals, maybe even Finals. We'll see. That I'm just putting it out there. Maybe
Don't even put it out there.
We'll see. Maybe Jason Tatum will have his regular fourth quarter performances, but you never know. What I wanted to say was about the Bucks, man, is I wonder if they exit out first round, who's Doc Rivers going to blame? The bus drivers?
Who's Giannis going to blame?
The custodians?
It's like during freaky time, you think about it. The Bucks being a first round exit might be the coldest hot take, though. Like, I think that argument holds a lot of weight that like kind of doesn't make it that much of a hot take.
Yeah.
Because of who they can potentially play would be Philly. Because Philly was a top 3 team before Embiid got hurt.
Yeah, well, Victor said Philly would go to the finals potentially. So I think that take is hot. I don't think them beating the Bucks is as hot. It's like the coldest hot take, Victor's take holds a lot of actual weight. So I'm just basically going to use this next minute to just shit on the Bucks here, but the Sixers I think will beat the Milwaukee Bucks this year in the playoffs. Some stats are Doc Rivers is 16-17 right now since picking up the Bucks job. Second one, Bucks are on a losing streak. They've lost to Toronto, Memphis, and Washington. Third, Giannis just went down with that awkward calf injury thing that I'm sure all of you saw. And yeah, the Bucks are just like spiraling right now, right before the playoffs. And I think just the combination of all of those things is, I think they're just in a really bad spot because Embiid is starting to look like himself again. I think the Sixers are going to beat them. I really do.
Not that anyone gives a shit, but I definitely do not agree with Victor and Miles. I don't know how Kevin feels, but I actually think that the Bucks will make it out. I'm reminded by a quote by UConn's head coach, Dan Hurley, who said, "Get us while you can," implying that, teams were beating them and they weren't doing so good. And then they won 2 back-to-back national championships. So, I'm not saying that the Bucks are going to win the championship. All I'm saying is that I think that people aren't giving enough credit to the kind of player. I mean, and it's not that people aren't giving enough credit to these players. It's their performance this year hasn't been amazing. But that being said, I think people are forgetting who we're going to be able to watch in the playoffs, and that's Damian Lillard and Giannis. So
And
I'm kinda
Doc
bagging them out
Rivers.
on that.
This is Doc Rivers. This isn't Dan Hurley.
He knows how to lose.
And you know what? I'll take it from there because as I've changed my name for this topic, got to make sure that I rep my set. And my hot take is that Jaylen Brown will win Finals MVP.
I thought maybe I was gonna have the craziest one, but
I think I was between picking 2. The other one was Bucks will be first round exits, but they play the Sixers, and Victor kind of covered that. So had to go with the hot one, bro. And that's Jaylen Brown will win the Finals MVP. And it is because I think any team, I'm kind of assuming that one of the top 3 seeds in the West are going to make it to the finals. And I do think it's going to be between Denver and the Timberwolves. And both of those defenses are really good at guarding Jason Tatum. So I think it's going to come down to the X factor, Jaylen Brown. I think if we're going to win the finals this year, it's going to be up to him. And for that reason, it's going to be Jaylen Brown will win the finals MVP. He's going to prove the left-hand allegations wrong.
It's a smoking take.
But I want to hear yours, Kev. I want to hear yours.
Never mind. Mine could be the craziest. My hot take for the upcoming NBA playoffs. Let me get in my mode. The Orlando Magic, sitting at the 4th seed, 46-33, currently 2 spots behind the 2 seed in the NBA Eastern Conference. If they play with their high energy that they usually play with, if they don't get shook by the experience in the playoffs, there's a lot of beatable teams in the Eastern Conference besides the Celtics. They could definitely beat the Celtics too. They beat them in the in-season tournament for a game to move on. That doesn't mean anything 8 months later from that, but I think it does.
Okay. Thank you.
And if they play through their best player, Paolo Banchero, who's been getting no media coverage this year, but has been an all-star in his 2nd year in the NBA, I believe this team can make a deep playoff run similar to what the Atlanta Hawks did 3 years ago.
I like that take, although I know this is not a knock on you being a Duke fan. This is my actual opinion. I don't know if Paolo can lead a team to a deep playoff run yet, but I guess that's the hot take. That's the hot in the take. So, yeah.
Right. I think part of him being an all-star this year too was his team actually being good. If the Orlando Magic were what they were last season, absolutely not. He would not have been considered. He's playing extremely well this season, and it sucks that the draft class after him had freaking Victor Wembanyama in it, because they're not going to talk about the second-year players. They rarely ever do. Whenever the new rookie class comes in, they kind of just they become like secondary.
Supposedly, the Orlando Magic are gearing up to offer Klay Thompson a pretty large sum amount of money. According to them,
I did see that.
Yeah, according to them, they have what's the word? A lot of young talent, but no real shooter that they can rely on, I think. So, yeah, they're
I don't think
gearing
Klay Thompson is a reliable shooter anymore.
They're looking for some veteran presence too. I don't know. But consensus.
He could tap into that old shooting habits with just a change of scenery. That's all you need sometimes.
It's possible.
Get Draymond
less pressure on him.
That's the question, though. Kevin, why was the Orlando Magic your hot take?
I'm not just feeling like What happened?
I'm sorry. I never make those jokes. I had to make one. And that was too finely set up.
I will say, if Orlando gets Clay, bring Draymond because that man had Stephen Curry in fucking tears, real tears during an NBA game.
I do like that Orlando take though, because I was thinking about putting the Magic. That was like on my list in there. Not to be a LeBron cat moment, but they do have really good defense. What I wanted to highlight. I don't know if you said that.
They do. And they just have a really good young squad overall. They got Wendell Carter back, who's been playing really well recently. And yeah, they just have a very solid. They have a pretty big team around them too. Jalen Suggs brings a lot of energy. They have their future franchise player in Paolo, Franz Hooper. They got all the pieces. They just need to age.